Gist of Sri Sankara's Vivekachudamani by Sri Ramana Maharshi. The date is January 23, 1937. In the new issue of the magazine The Vision, Sri Ramana Maharshi's preface to Sri Sankara's Vivekachudamani, the crown gem of discrimination between the real and the unreal, was published. Sri Ramana Maharshi's preface is as follows. The essence or gist of Vivekachudamani. Every being in the world yearns to be always happy, free from the taint of sorrow, and desires to get rid of bodily ailments which are not of his true nature. Further, everyone cherishes the greatest love for himself, and this love is not possible in the absence of happiness. In deep sleep, though devoid of everything, one has the experience of being happy. Yet, due to the ignorance of the real nature of one's being, which is happiness itself, people flounder in the vast ocean of material existence, forsaking the right path that leads to happiness, and act under the mistaken belief that the way to be happy consists in obtaining the pleasures of this and the other world. A safe guide. But unfortunately, that happiness which has not the taint of sorrow is not realized. It is precisely for the purpose of pointing out the straight path to happiness that Lord Shiva took on the guise of Sri Shankaracharya, wrote the commentaries on the Triune Institutes Prasthanatraya of the Vedanta, which extol the excellence of this bliss, and he demonstrated it by his own example in life. These commentaries, however, are of little use to those ardent seekers who are intent upon realizing the bliss of absolution but have not the scholarship for studying them. It is for such as these seekers that Sri Sankara revealed the essence of the commentaries in this short exposition, Vivekachudamani, the crown gem of discrimination, explaining in detail the points that have to be grasped by those who seek absolution, and thereby directing them to the true and straight path. Learning alone won't do. Sri Sankara opens the theme by observing that it is hard indeed to attain human birth, and having attained it, one should strive for the realization, liberation, which is verily the nature of one's being. By jnana or knowledge alone is this bliss realized, and jnana is achieved only through vichara or steady enquiry. In order to know this method of enquiry, says Sri Sankara, one should seek the favor of a guru, and proceeds to describe the qualities of the guru and his sishya, the disciple, and how the latter should approach and serve his master. He further emphasizes that in order to realize the bliss of liberation, one's own individual effort is an essential factor. Mere book learning never yields this bliss, which can be realized only through enquiry or vichara, which consists of shravana or devoted attention to the precepts of the Guru, manana or deep contemplation, and nididhyasana or the cultivation of steady poise in the self. The three paths. The three bodies, physical, subtle, and causal, are non-self and are unreal. The self, or I, is quite different from them. It is due to ignorance that the sense of the self, or the I notion, is foisted on that which is not self, and this indeed is bondage. Since from ignorance arises bondage, from knowledge ensues liberation. To know this from the Guru is Shravana, listening. To reject the three bodies consisting of 5 sheaths, physical, vital, mental, gnostic, and blissful, as not I, and to extract through subtle enquiry of who am I, even as the central blade of grass is delicately drawn out from its whirl, that which is different from all the three bodies and is existent as one and universal in the heart as Aham, or I, and denoted by the word Tvam in the scriptural dictum Tattvam Asi, that you are. This process of subtle enquiry is manana, or deep contemplation. The Beatitude, supreme happiness. The world of name and form is but an adjunct of Sat, or Brahman, and being not different from it, it is rejected as such and is affirmed as nothing else but Brahman. The instruction by the Guru to the disciple of the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, that you are, which declares the identity of the Self and the Supreme, is Upadesha, teaching. The disciple is then enjoined to remain in the divine rapture, the beatitude of Aham Brahman, I, the Absolute. Nevertheless, the old tendencies of the mind sprout up thick and strong and form an obstruction to that state of divine ecstasy, the beatitude. These tendencies are threefold, and egoism, which is their root, flourishes in the externalized and differentiating consciousness caused by the forces of vikshepa, or dissipation due to passions, called rajas, and avarana, or envelopment due to dullness, called tamas. Churning the mind. To install the mind firmly in the heart until these forces are destroyed, and to awaken with unswerving, ceaseless vigilance the true and cognate tendency which is characteristic of the Atman and is expressed by the dictum Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and by the dictum Brahmaivaham, Brahman alone am I, is termed Nididhyasana, or Atmanusandhana, constancy in the self. This is otherwise called Bhakti, Yoga, and Dhyana. Atmanusandhana has been likened to churning the curd to draw forth butter, the mind being compared to the churning rod, the heart to the curd, and the practice of constancy in the self to the process of churning. Just as by churning the curd, butter is extracted, and by friction, fire is kindled, even so, by unswerving, vigilant constancy in the self, ceaseless like the unbroken filamentary flow of oil, is generated the natural or changeless trance or nirvikalpa samadhi, which readily and spontaneously yields that direct, immediate, unobstructed, and universal perception of Brahman, which is at once knowledge and experience, and which transcends time and space. Limitless bliss. This is self-realization, and thereby is cut as under the Hridaya Granthi, or the knot of the heart. The false delusions of ignorance, the vicious and age-long tendencies of the mind which constitute this knot are destroyed. All doubts are dispelled, and the bondage of karma, actions, is severed. Thus, in this Vivekachudamani, the crown gem of discrimination, Sri Sankara has described samadhi or trance transcendent, which is the limitless bliss of liberation that is beyond doubt and duality. He has at the same time indicated the means for its attainments. To realize this state of freedom from duality is the summum bonum of life, and he alone who has won it is a Jivan Mukta, the liberated one while yet alive, and not he who has merely a theoretical understanding of what constitutes Purushartha or the desired end and aim of human endeavor. Final freedom. Thus, a Jivan Mukta, the liberated one while yet alive, is declared to be free from the bonds of threefold karmas, Sanchita, Agami, and Prarabdha. The disciple who has reached this stage then relates his personal experience. The liberated one is free indeed to act as he pleases, and when he leaves the mortal frame, attains absolution, and returns not to this birth which is death. Sri Sankara thus describes realization that connotes liberation as twofold, that is, Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti referred to above. Moreover, in this short disposition called Vivekachudamani, written in the form of a dialogue between a guru and his disciple, he has considered many relevant topics.